Hey everybody, hope you're all doing well. It's Working Wednesday, which means we're going to be taking a look at something that will help you improve your capabilities as a performer. So, today we're looking at a big one, memorization. How we jam all of the information that we need, all of the lines, all of the blocking, the movement, into our heads. Now, the other big thing about this is that, frankly, memorization is never really taught. I don't remember anyone teaching me how to memorize. I don't remember teaching it ever, which is bad on me. But it's usually something that people are just left to figure out on their own. So here are some tricks that might help you. And these are all tricks that have worked for either me or other actors I've worked with. And I cannot guarantee any of them will work for you. Everyone's brains operate differently, and so what works for me, what works for my friends, may not work for you. However, these are a start. Go through some of these. You may find one of them works. You may find that as you do one that you learn how to alter it to make it work better for your brain. So let's begin. The first and foremost, most important thing you can do to memorize is repeat. Repeat, 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 repeat. The more you hear, the more you do, the more likely it is to stick in your brain. That's why when you do stuff in class and you do a repetition drill of, say, math problems, it's to help you concretely store it in your brain. Because if you do something once, it's easy to forget. If you do something 1,000 times, it sticks in there quite a bit more. Another example, it's why you get better at a video game the more you play it. Because you're so used to the repetitive ideas and what's going on, you get yourself used to those motions. Same thing with theater. The more you repeat the lines, the more you repeat your blocking or movement, the better you're going to remember it. Now, with that, there's a couple different ways you can do stuff like that. Now, if you've got a big chunk of text, one of the easiest ways to do that is to memorize it line by line, where you start off and you recite the first line to yourself until you have it completely down. Basically, you have that 100%, you could say it in your sleep. Then you add the second line, you repeat the first and second line now, and you keep adding on until you've memorized the whole thing. And that's if you're memorizing a big chunk, as if you have a monologue like we've been doing on Mondays and Fridays and weekly and every day prior to the schedule change. Or if you have just a monologue for an audition, this is a good way to get it into your head. Now, let's say for a moment you're not doing a monologue. Let's say you're in a show and you have lines of dialogue. So let's start by looking at our script here. Notice the yellow highlighter in there? That is my highlighting from when I did that show when I was in high school. And that is the first thing you need to do when you get a new script that you are performing. Highlight your lines. Mark your lines somehow, if you can. Because that's going to, A, help differentiate what you need to learn from the rest of the massive amount of text in the script, and B, the simple act of physically highlighting those lines is going to start the memorization process. Because as you're highlighting, you're reading, you're starting to internalize these things. Now, when you have dialogue like that, the back and forth, there are a handful of different things you can do to help your memorization. First, and this is the easiest way, is flashcards. What you would do is you take a index card or a piece of paper, and on one side you write what is called your cue line. It's the line that comes immediately before yours in the script. And on the back, you write your line. And what you do is you pick up the flashcard, you read the line that is before yours, you recite what you believe to be the line that is after yours, that is after that one, flip it over, check and see if you're correct. This is the exact same way that you would create flashcards for science or history or math or English or any other subject. And these are all, by the way, memorization techniques that can help you memorize things for other classes and other skills that you need. It's kind of a broad subject memorization. Second thing you can do, and what some people will do as well, is they will physically record themselves saying the lines that are their cues. They will say those cue lines and either leave a pause in the recording that they can then repeat their line to it, or they'll just pause the recording after the cue line, say their line, and move forward. Both of those are viable solutions. Additionally, a really good one is if you can give somebody else the script, let them say the cue line to you so it sounds a bit more natural than just listening to your voice over and over and over. And then you repeat the cue line back to them. The advantage of that particular version, if you can do that, is that that person is going to be able to watch your line in real time and either A, correct you, or B, if you stumble and can't think of your line, be able to give you some of that line back. You can't do that with a flashcard or with the recordings, unfortunately. One last little thing here. When you are memorizing lines, again, key being the repetition, 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 if you can, stand up. Be up and moving, or at least be standing as you do it. Because 90% of the time, the lines that you're going to be saying them while standing, or while moving, or doing something. And the reason I tell you this is because if you memorize everything while seated in a chair, and I'm not saying it's impossible, my wife memorizes seated down, and she's really good at what she does. But most people I've met, if they memorize while seated in a chair, like, the chair behind me that I keep pointing to, they get up on that stage for the first time after doing all that memorization work, and they can't remember the line because their body is so used to doing it while seated. And that's where the trouble lies. That's why you should be up and moving, because, again, you're speaking while up and moving. And that physical movement ties that word into your brain, because, fun little fact, physical activity helps you memorize better. Whether that is the physical activity of writing, or pacing back and forth as you memorize, or as you do something, or recite the lines back. Anything that you can do that is physical will help you internalize those lines quite a bit better. Now, I leave you with the following couple of things. And these are techniques that we've talked about everything being purely in the theater-related world. I'm going to very quickly explain how you can use some of these to help you memorize other things for other classes, other assignments, other stuff that you may be doing. The flashcards, really good, because if you are in the act, again, the act of physically writing stuff out helps wire it into your brain. The act of repeating the answer and the question is going to help wire it into your brain, because repetition is a very key thing. 2 more ones, and these ones will depend on who is asking you to recall the information, all right? So again, check with whoever is asking you to do the recall, whether it's a teacher or employer or whatever. If you can chew gum while studying and chew gum while doing what you need to do, as long as it is the same flavor of gum, it has been proven that it will enhance your memory and your recall. That being said, do not chew gum while on stage. It's bad. Don't do it. Additionally, you can also use lyricless music. And again, if you can listen to music while doing the recall portion as well as doing the studying, listening to the same types of music, again, as long as it's not got lyrics, will help. Anyway, I know that's a lot. I know this is a longer video for one of these Working Wednesday type things, but memorization is super important, and I hope that one of the techniques I've talked about will help you somehow as you try and memorize your future lines or memorize things for classes. Have a great day. I'll see you tomorrow for Tech Thursday. Bye!